Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today we have here again a Alfa 164 with a V6 2-liter turbo Busso that does not run, just cranks and cranks and cranks and does not start. So let's start again with the basics. Does it have spark? Does it have compression? Does it have fuel pressure? And now I have here my trusty gauge to see that. And the customer told me that he already saw that they said it has no fuel pressure and no spark. So these are I think, two separate issues that we have to see. For the fuel pressure, it's quite easy to see. So we have here a hose that we want to disconnect, okay? And then yeah, you have the regulator down there and everything. You can interconnect over here your gauge, or over here, for example, you can do that also over here and see the pressure. You already saw me see the pressure on the other 164. It must be the same thing, I believe. This is an earlier version, but we have to have some pressure, right? Okay, so it does crank quite well actually, but no start. Also, I already find again the NOx sensors completely, well, rotten to pieces. The other one as well. Also there, the connectors for the RPM sensor completely bad. I do have a sensor for this if necessary. So let's begin. Make sure you have a new or a very good battery if you need to use another battery to do some assistance, because we are going to do the starting for a long time to check out everything, and we do not want to kill the battery or the starter for that matter. Speaking of starter, this one is already a little bit bad. This is very nice. This is the first version, I believe. Very cute. So let's hear it. Okay, clearly it goes fast also. You can hear compression, but you can check that also. So possibly here with the fuel pressure, let's see that, okay? It's just right there, looking at me, and let's do that. Absolutely nothing, but we can check out with the relay if you have fuel pressure. I did that on the other 164 and I recorded, but I lost the footage. So on this video I will show you that, okay? Okay, so here lives the air filter box. Right here is the distributor. This is the intercooler hose, and we have here two relays. One controls the fuel pump, the other one controls the spark. Which one of it is it? I do not remember right now, and possibly on the assembly they can be switched up. But on the other car, so this is our new relays. On the other car, I believe it was a front one. And these relays are not, if I can remember correctly, they are not the same, or should not be the same. Well, that does not matter. What matters is we should have closing the contact with the wire. We should be able to turn on the fuel pump. So let's do that. If you want to know more about relays, I did videos for this. It was an earlier video, but I believe it is possible to understand. So the ignition is on, and doing the shunt, I should have something. Nothing. I hear it and I have it. So doing the shunt again, let's see there the pressure. I can hear something, and leaks also. I can hear a lot of leaks, not only in there. I can hear it on the back side. This will be dangerous to drive. But well, I know in this way, I know that my connections to the pump are good. I can have a problem with the relay or the signal to close the relay. Removing the shunt. Nice. Stops there at 3 bars. Very nice. Now, should we finalize here this diagnosis or do the spark? Maybe finalize the diagnosis. What do you think? So testing the relays, they are good, okay? Now we need to see, so we need to have here a positive and negative to close the relay, okay? You know now that after closing the relay with a shunt, the system works well. So it probably has a problem on the positive or on the negative. The positive normally is a common positive from the fuse box, and normally the negative comes from the CU or something like that, okay? Or the ignition, whatever it may be. So we need to check if we are missing positive or negative to close the relay. So let's see here on the socket where goes the relay, if you are missing positive or negative, okay? On these older cars, the best way to test for that signal is to crank the engine, because only doing the ignition may not start your fuel pump. So clearly we are confirming again that we do not have signal to close the relay. So we must search for what is missing, like I said. Is it missing positive or negative? I pulled up here the relays. They were over here. In this way it's much easier to see them, okay? So this one over here I think is for the ignition. I have to confirm that. But once I have the ignition on, which is, once you put your relay on, you can hear it click. So you know you have here the power and ground to close the relay, okay? On this side it does not happen. So we have to find out on these two small wires, this one red and black, and this one gray and black, what is missing, if it is positive or negative, or both, okay? So not to confuse me, let's put here the relay to a side. Let's see over here. Now you have to find a good ground. You have the engine for that, over here for example, and you have to find a good positive. I have up here 2 posts on the firewall that I can use for that. Then I have to find out with the cranking of the engine if I have positive or negative or none, and in that way start looking for what is missing over here. I will do this with a light, which is much more easy to do than with a multimeter in this case. So a negative over here, a positive over here. I am testing my light, my tool. It is working, okay? And let's start with this one that we know that works. If we have the other side of this wire on the negative, on this side I will look for positive, right? One of them has to have, of thin wires, has to have positive. And the red one has positive, okay? The negative to negative does not do anything, but we can test this as well, okay? So positive over here. So you have to test your light every time. Now we have positive over here, and we want to test negative. So again, over here on this one, if you do positive with positive, nothing happens, okay? And if you do positive with negative, here we go. Okay, so if we have this side over here with positive, on this side we want to test negative. Now on this support over here, in here we have nothing, no negative. In this side we have nothing, no negative. Let's switch this up to the negative side. Test your tool. I can test it over here. Now on this side we have to see, look at that. We have positive. Yes, we have positive. So we are just missing the negative. So where does the negative comes from? Well, I have to find out. Maybe a diagram or something. Or possibly, well, with the ignition, cranking the car. So, cranking the car. This signal here may come from the ECU. And the ECU may not be able to respond. Just for giggles, let's test this wire over here when we have the ignition cranking. So, if I have here positive, I have to test for negative on this side. So this point, this side of the wire connects to a known positive, and this side over here will connect to will search for a negative. Make sure your tool is doing perfect contact. without damaging anything. Okay, before that, test again your tool. So I want to search for a negative. Here I have it. So I want to test this wire. Here we go. No signal to close the relay. Now, the problem may be on the wire itself. It may be not on the fuse, because the fuses only protect the positive side and not the negative. So you do not need to see any fuses right now, okay, at least for this function. Let's see step by step what do you need afterwards, okay? But I think not, because even if we do the shunt, we can have fuel pressure, so no fuses are important right now. Okay, so I'll search for a diagram for this and I get back to you, okay? So here you have it. It's a little bit cold today. Here you have it. This is a simplified version of the diagram. I was able to find the original diagrams online. Sometimes they are not present because of the rights of the manufacturers, and then sometimes they remove it from the internet. But I found them and print them, not to lose them. But I do have a simplified version of all of this. Okay, for the function that we need to know. So this is our fuel pump relay over here, the 512A, and we have right next to it the 512B, which is a relay that I know that is different from the other one, and the one that is there has to be replaced, because the one for the Motronic relay has to be with diode. It is written on the diagrams, and I knew one of them was, but I did not remember which one. So now we know. Okay, this is to protect the Motronic. Possibly it was this aftermarket relay that caused some issues. We will get to that in a moment. Okay, so we know that this relay over here works. Okay, at least it clicks, and the relay I know that works. One of the functions is to close this relay in order to activate the fuel pump. Another function of this relay is to power up here the S11, which is our ECU, and our ECU is also fitted with positive from the ignition on 32 and on 18. So this is the ignition side. Okay, to turn on this relay also, it is provided from the relay, from the switch, via the F22 fuse. So we know that this fuse is good because the relay works. So the relay is okay, the fuse is okay, the ignition is okay, ground is okay, everything is okay. What you need to do here, you also know that this wire over here is okay. This wire may be bad, maybe. Okay, so now what I will do is to see on the S11, on the terminals 32, 35 and 18, see if good power reaches over here. Okay, if it is good, on number 12, 16 and 27, see if good ground reaches it. Okay, I also will try to connect it to my diagnosis machine. It is a very, very, very old. My cat is in heat. Calm down, okay? Me too. I'll try to connect it to my diagnosis machine, but this is you with being so old, I think it will not be possible to do so. Okay, but if everything is over here and everything is over here, we have to see if we have an exit of negative over here. Okay, just like we tested on the relays, we check with the lamp, for example, and see when we crank the engine if we have an exit of a ground to close this relay. Okay, if you do have an exit over here, it means for sure that we have a problem on the wire or an interconnection or something like that. Okay, so let's get to this part. If you have any doubts about this diagnosis on the whiteboard with the electrical diagram, I did a lot of videos for them, and I'm trying to simplify as much as possible for you to... Yes, I know. Not to waste too much of your time. So if you have any doubts, please tell me on the comments below so I can try to explain you better. Okay, so we have to recapture this. We know that we have a good relay over here. I just have to put a diode one over here, and I have it in stock. We know that this fuse is good. We have to see here the power, the positive. We have to see the negatives. We have to see here the exit to close this fuel pump. I am yet to see the spark, and possibly I will do that before this, because if we do not have spark also, it means that we have possibly a problem with feeding here the S11. Okay, so having to, because it is also the S11 that controls the wire for the spark, for the coil to the spark. Okay, yes, we can see the spark now and see also the coil if 12 volts reaches it, and also because the coil is fitted with, well, the coil has a positive and a negative. Okay, the positive, it normally is always present when you switch here on the ignition, and the negative over here is present with pulsation to do the pulsation of the spark. Okay, so the pulsation can be a little bit tricky to see if but having the light bulb to test it can be easy to see. If we do not have the positive, it may mean that we have a problem. Well, the positive may come from the ignition, but the negative almost for sure. I have the diagrams over here. So yes, I have here the coil. So I have a direct from the S11, and I have another one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, exactly like this. So negative comes from the ECU, like this. Positive comes from the ignition switch, and obviously then the high tension goes to the distributor, and that also can be bad. A lot of stuff can be bad. The car being stopped for so long, it can also have that. But controlling here the connections to the coil, if we do not have the pulsation of the negative, again, the S11 can be an issue. Let's see that. One more thing that I forgot to mention is this is the first version of the 164, I believe, and the cluster is different from the other ones that I know. And this one, I do not know if it uses the injection light. If it uses, cannot see it quite well, but if it uses, it's not lighting up, which means feeding or bad control unit. Remember my video about the Lancia Tima? It had the exactly same thing, but that on that car, it was very, very noticeable that the light was there to be turned on, okay? And it was not turning on. And the problem with that one was the rotten fuse that was causing that. And it was causing the lack of spark. So in this case, we may have a very, very similar problem, okay? So I believe in this way it will be a little bit better to understand. We know that the relay itself is good. The wiring that goes to the fuel pump itself is good. The fuel pump is good. The fuel pump can hold pressure. I have a lot of fuel leaks, but that is for the next steps. Yeah, let's go. So over here we do not have the signal for the spark. Over here we do have the positive. I did check it, okay? And look at that. My neighbor is doing some cleaning. Look at this. I was afraid of this. The car is soaking in water. And look at that, at those control units. I have 3. Well, the 2 of them I already know that is possible because of the other 164. But the third one, cannot figure out what it is for. Maybe the electric seats, maybe something else. Well, for now does not matter. What matters is the condition of them. They seem to be very, very, very moisty. I do not want to make up my mind about that, about the moisture. I will remove the connectors, see the condition of them because they are sealed. They are supposed to be sealed, and go from there, and then see the positive and grounds. But this is very, very nasty. Look at the amount of relays and fuses all over the place. Relays of its place. Jesus Christ. Well, let's go. In the meantime, I cannot find the connector for the ECU for the diagnosis. I have to search for it. Cannot find it. Where is it? Already pulled the carpet over here, but nowhere to be found. Everything is so moist, so wet. Possibly this is our issue. Possibly. If I remove the connectors and everything is oxidized, the pins and the wires and the connectors, well, it's over. Not too bad. Not too bad. It has a little bit of a humidity, but very... No, it is dry. Well, this is good. Let's see the top one. Also very good. And no humidity to speak of. I will try this. I will try some WD-40 on the connectors and see if I have any news on the signals. If not, let's get to it, okay? I just do not want to cut this right away before it is necessary, really necessary. If I have all the signals, I really have to remove them and send them to the specialist to be verified and repaired. I did manage to find the connector. It was just under the cover. I know now what is the middle control unit for. It's for the ABS, almost for sure. Because these earlier versions have the ABS unit separated from the ABS module. So the lower one is for the control of the engine, the upper one as well. One does the spark, the other one does the management, okay? I was able to see that because of the separation of the wiring loom. I have my positive and negative that comes from the engine compartment. You can do that from the lighter, but this one is not working. And now I will try to enter here this control unit. Like I said, it may not happen, but like I did on a Tima, it was excellent to see if I was having communication with the control unit. Okay, I'm scanning here now for the control unit. Make sure to understand that when you have a connector, a simple connector like this one, you only have a connection to the system you are trying to enter. In this case, the ECU, the control unit for the engine. None of the other systems of the car, if it had airbag or for the ABS ESP. In this case, only ABS, the plug is on the outside of the car, for example, you only have access to the injection system. For the OBD, you should have the complete access to the entire systems of the car, okay? But for these earlier systems, one plug does one system. I really hope I do not have any damage on the control units. I really just hope it is a wire or something, because finding the replacement or repairing of these control units can be a little bit challenging. But let's see. It did enter. It did enter. Well, it did recognize it. Very good. We were able to enter it. Very good, which means probably it is saved. Now we can have problems with wiring only and the interconnections. Possibly even a problem with the control unit, yes, but only on the thing that we are looking for, on the wires, the signal wires that we are looking for. But this is very good. This is very, very, very good. Which also tells us that for this case, we do not have a light, an injection light for the cluster, or it is just simply burnt out. Okay. So just like the other 164, we have here a lot of numbers. We can see RPM, for example. Hey, yeah, nice. The temperatures are always very, very nuts. But we can see RPM. But the RPM does not... it is not important right now. We can see that, yes, but for now it is not important. I think, because probably it does. Probably it does matter. Because if you do not have RPM sensor signal, for sure you will not have. For sure you will not have the spark thing, the pulsation. And for the fuel pump, it also may be of interest. So let's see. What is the reading. It will be a little bit laggy, but bear with it. So we have RPM 160. So the RPM sensor is good. Oh yeah, it may start. Remember when I told you about the wrong relay being in there? Turns out it was not just one bad or wrong relay, it was two. And I'll explain you in a moment, okay? So my thinking is, yes, I do have spark, I do have fuel pressure now, and I want to have fresh fuel to do a better start, okay? And not to start the pump. And my thinking here was, I did have a bad contact on the connectors of the ECUs. Yes, I did. Because as I was moving them, I could start to hear the fuel pump moving, okay? And as I did that with the new relays, I thought maybe it can start. Let's see. Nope. And so on a normal relay, a 4-post relay, you have the box of the relay, you have a plus and a minus to connect the okay, just like so. You excite here a coil which pulls this contact over here on the inside and pulls your plus to your plus or your minus to your minus or whatever it may be, okay? This is the 4-post relay, okay? In here we have 2 relays which are 5-post relays. Normal 5-post relays work like this, just like this, and then an extra pole right here, which is when you have your relay in an off position, it normally shunts these 2 points over here, okay? Being plus or minus or whatever, okay? So, excited, it goes to here. Out of excitement over here, on this coil, it goes to the rest position and it goes from here. So, your flow goes from here to here or from here to here. But on this older Alfa and Fiat cars, it does not work. The 5-post does not work like this. The 5-post works like on these cars. The 5-post works like this. It is a double exit. That's why it has the same number on the exit. It is not just a reason why it was not working, because I did try with the new relays, the relays with the diode and without the diode in place, and it did nothing to improve the situation. But when moving the connectors of the ECUs, it started to work. Okay, so my thinking is, the car did not run yet, okay, but my initial thinking was I had problems with the connectors of the ECUs because of the water leak to the inside of the car. They start looking for problems and replace the relays for the 5-post normal relays that we have, that have the rest on one position and have the connection on the other position. Okay, so seeing here, now I have the pulsation of the negative. I can show you on a video, but I do have it. I already checked it. And when the crank in the car, I got now my fuel pump working, which means this wire is correct. So to resume is, this relays over here, like I said, have multiple exits to multiple places using these 2 posts. That is why they are so special, this relays, this old relays. Then again, this one over here also has the twin on the inside over here, has a twin post, okay, and it does not have the rest position. On this one, the rest position connects to nothing, okay, even though it has 5 connectors, the off position connects to nothing. Pay very close attention to that. On the 33, it is also like this, but not on all of them, just a few of them, okay? Normally the Motronic one and the fuel pump one work like this, okay? I hope now we are very much close to the issue, okay? The starting of the car, as you can see, it blinks. In the starting of the car, is starting to be a little bit more difficult, mainly when I let go of the starter, which means that gasoline is starting to flood the combustion chambers. So I have to be very careful now not to flood the spark plugs and the engine and the piston rings and the oil and whatnot. So let's really get to it and try to start the car. For the connector here of the air meter, I will remove here for now this clip to be able to connect it and disconnect it as I need to do the job at hand, and then to replace the fuel lines and whatnot, okay? And to see here also the distributor. But for now, this clip will be off. Let's see. See what's going on. Let's take out here the pressure and see if it builds up again. And let's take out here the distributor cap to see corrosion, because he did want to start, but then nothing. So I just didn't hear the distributor cap. It was a little bit rusty, but nothing too much. Well, a bit. And I also hear the distributor rotor, the rotor arm, and I cleaned that. It has a lot of evidence of water. Let's see if it is enough. Another thing that is causing this very hard start is none of the detonation sensors are present. They're all completely rotten, okay? And this car, this engine does not use a phase sensor, so a camshaft sensor. It may be very, very hard or impossible to start for that matter. Let's keep an eye on the fuel pressure. I already did discharge the fuel pressure over there. I'll show you in a minute. Keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on the spark. And if it is too difficult to start or no start, I will go ahead and replace the detonation sensors at once. good fuel pressure. The spark, let's see the spark, okay? This one is not engaged. It was not tightened. Well, that may explain it. It has a lot of gasoline. They appear to be new. Let's see spark. Well, for that matter, let's do all three on the front. Also not tight. This one also not. Well, very, very nasty. The spark plugs. Very bad in terms of dirtiness. They are very dirty. Let me try to clean this up. If you need a video how to clean the spark plugs, I do have one on the description below. Well, it kind of wants to, but it does not want to go. So we have to continue from what we know it's bad. The two detonation sensors are completely gone, so we have to take care of that. If it still does not run correctly, we have to see the firing order seems to be correct, but we have to see also the injectors, if they are firing at all, like I did on the other video. And I will take advantage of that once I remove the intakes for the detonation sensors. Yeah, but for now, for today, we come a long way to discover what is wrong with it. Here we have it. It's running badly, misfiring, but it is running. So I did have a problem here on this coil. I was losing the spark after a few seconds of cranking time. So I did check over here again for the signal, and it was present even though the spark was gone. Okay, so I did the simple testing that I showed you before with the spark plug on the outside of the car. Okay, now over here on this rough idle, I may have, well, idle is not the idle is not good enough, so I have to check out here this airflow meter, because it can adjust the idle over here, and I have also to see there on the intake body, okay, on the throttle body. But that is for another adventure, possibly on this video, okay, possibly on this video. But I know now that it runs, so okay, it runs. Finally it's working. And possibly the misfire, it can be the HD leads, it can be here. I clean all of this up on the distributor cap, but it can be corrosion on that, on the inside. So six new spark plugs, some new wires, a distributor and a rotor will be in order if the customer wants to. Okay, if he wants to, because I also have to do, if he wants to, a service for all of the fluids, for example. I will assemble this as it should be done. Okay. But now I know that I have a good running engine. And this feels strong too, very strong. Wow. Okay, so we did spend here I believe, the least possible. So we had to do here these rubbers over here on top. We had to do the O-rings and the threadings for the bolts. They were very, very bad. The detonation sensors were practically non-existent, as you could saw. And the RPM sensor was falling to pieces. The final piece of the puzzle was here, the coil, and do not forget on the inside of the car, a lot of WD-40 on the connectors for the control units for the engine. That was really the main issue for the lack of fuel pressure and the lack of spark to begin with. And here you go, the 164 is almost ready. I went to the technical inspection to see what's what, and it did fail on the brakes. That was to be expected because at the way there I saw that the brakes were very, very bad. But how bad and which of ones were bad, I have to figure it out on the technical inspection, okay? And I like to do that. I like to take the car to the technical inspection before doing anything else to see if it's really worth it to do it, okay? So that being said, the car needs the flexible brake hoses. So of the 4 brake lines, the flexible brake lines that is, 3 are completely clogged, and I already confirmed that. As I told you to do on my 33, I have a video down on the description so you to see how it's done, okay? In fact, I have a playlist, a whole playlist for brakes, brake lines, bleeding, purging, all of that down on the description, okay? Also, I had here an issue with overheating because the fan was not working. So this car uses a big fan and it has 2 speeds. None of the speeds was working, and I did solve that. It is now working perfectly. For that, I also replaced the antifreeze or the coolant, okay? I do have videos for cooling systems of the engine. I have a whole playlist for that. It is down in the description so you to see what's what. I have flushes, I have troubleshooting, I have a lot of stuff that will be useful for you, okay? I also did here a full service. I did replace all of the fluids, so the engine oil and the filter, the gearbox oil, the power steering oil, the of course the brake fluid and the antifreeze, okay? Also the 4 filters for the car. So for the service you have a lot of videos down on the description, various videos for that. And for this crank no start, I have a full playlist for crank no start on gasoline and diesel engines. If you want to see, they are down on the description, okay? Also down on the description I have links for helps for the channel if you are able to do so. I see you next time, guys. Bye.